Hello once again, dear students. This is the URUREMBO class. We are back, and I hope today you are good, you are okay. We also bring you another very interesting lesson today. But as you see, we are still in poetry. Today is a lesson, as you can see here now, dear student. The lesson of today is the epigrams. Epigrams. So this is another type of poetry, as usual. Apart from tanka, haiku, sonnet, as we have seen, this is another type of poetry. This is called epigram. So now, what is the difference between epigram and other types of poetry that we have seen, dear student? As usual, you can see, okay, epigram, it cannot only be a poem, also it can be an expression. So what do I mean here, dear student? I mean that epigram, it is also a short, wise expression. When I mean wise expression, I mean that an expression which is contain wisdom. Here we have an example of epigram, which is a wise expression. Can you read here, dear student? This is a good example here we have. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. This is an epigram. An example when epigram is a wise expression. It is wise simply because it is not easy to get what the epigram is saying. So even though you can see, dear student, even though it is short, but it has a big idea. Yes, it is short, but it has big idea. We have another second example of an epigram. There are no small nations, only small minds. There is another epigram, short, wise expression. Dear student, as you can see, you can write so many things about this epigram. Which says, there are no small nations, only small minds. Whatever big country you should have or should in, the very important thing is the people in that country. How those people think. What are the mind of those people? Do those people have a big mind? Dear student, you can write so many things about this epigram. So again, we come to see that an epigram should be a short, wise expression. And those examples we come to see. But not only that, also, an epigram should be or can be a poem. You remember then that we could have a poem with 2 lines. And we could have a poem with 3 lines, 4 lines, etc. The reason why also an epigram can be a poem. We can have another example here. Okay? Dear student, here is an example. Are you together, dear student? Here now it is example. Big foot often puts his foot in his mouth, and he has a big mouth too. You can see, here we have a poem. And this poem we have, there is also alliteration, okay? So as to make the poem enjoyable and very easy. Do you see, dear student? Foot, foot, okay? There is a repetition of the words. Foot, okay, of the words. Foot, foot, okay? And again, you can see math, math, okay? So this is an example of, dear student, of an epigram as a poem, as a poem. Okay? We have another example, dear student, okay, as usual, whereby an epigram should be a poem or expressions, wise expressions. Here we have another, okay, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. You can see, this you can call an epigram, but it is a short poem. You can see, dear student. Also, we have in this kind of poem, we have, okay, the same ending sound. Okay, the same ending sound. Believe, achieve, and conceive. You can see it makes it very, very enjoyable. Okay, it is now when we read it, we can enjoy. Okay. This epigram is for the famous man called Napoleon Hill. Okay, you can see, dear student, this is Napoleon Hill. Yeah, this is the famous man. Okay, now looking at his epigram, you can see now the man think big. Okay, yes. Let's go to the next epigram, dear student. The next epigram, we have it here. Don't worry, we have it here. Yes. Now, God bless our good and gracious King, whose promise none lies on, who never said a foolish thing, nor ever did a wise one. You see? This man is John Wilmot. This is John Wilmot's book. Okay? This is John Wilmot's book. Can you see? Can you see, dear student? Okay? Now, dear student, when you read this poem, this epigram, I'm sure you can see there is wisdom in it. Okay? It is not easier to guess or to say the meaning of this epigram, because you can see what epigram says about the king, not easy. Okay? Gracious. Okay? But the man never did a wise thing. You can see? But we say he's gracious and good. Let's go up there. Then we see also epigram, dear student. It is like a word puzzle. Hey, you have to think more and more so as to get the meaning of the epigram, as well as a riddle. A riddle, to guess the meaning of the riddle, you have to go far and far and far so as to get the meaning of the riddle. So the same as epigram, dear student. Also epigram requires, okay, to think big to find out what an epigram is saying. Okay? Then, dear student, we have also another example of epigram. Okay, we have another example of epigram we have here. Okay, you can see, dear student. Can you read this epigram carefully? Are you together? So, I admit your general rule that every poet is a fool, but you yourself may serve to show it that every fool is not a poet. Eh? There is a contradiction. There is a contradiction, dear student. Okay? So now to get the meaning of this epigram, now it is not easy. It is not easy. This is Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Okay? I can show him. I can show you him. Can you see the man? This is also a famous man. This is a famous man. Dear student, not only example of epigram that we have, but we have also another example. Okay? We have another example. Yes, this is another example, dear student. This is another example. Our country may be small, but our people think big. Our ideas will not be limited by the limits of our borders. This is an epigram from our beloved President of the Republic of Rwanda, His Excellency Paul Kagame. Dear student, now, is it easy now to discover the meaning of this epigram? Not really. But you have to think more and big so as to discover the meaning of this epigram. Okay, now you can see this is our President. Okay, can you see, dear student? Can you see? Okay, good now. Okay, good. So, dear student, this is the number of epigrams we come to see. Those are our examples. But dear student, now epigram also, some of them they have rhyme, as you have seen. Okay, some of them they have rhyme. Let me go up to see. Hope you follow me well. Hope we are together. Okay, are you together, dear students? Now we are here. Some of the epigrams, they have rhyme. As we come to see here. Conceive, believe, and achieve. The words at the end of each line are rhymed together. Some of others epigrams, they have not rhyme. Dear students, epigrams, they use also figures of speech. Like other poems, epigrams also, they use literary techniques or figures of speech. When I say figures of speech, I mean literary devices or literary techniques. Now you can see here now, epigrams, they use satire, sarcasm, and oxymoron. Dear student, allow me to go to see the meaning of those figures of speech that epigram used. Wait and see, dear student. Now, dear student, here we are. So now, before we go immediately to the literary techniques or other figures of speech that used in a epigram. Dear student, I have another important person, famous person, with his epigrams. Here you have two. Can you read? No matter what you want to do with your life, I grant you, you will need an education to do it. This is the epigram is about education. Okay? Can you guess who's that? Oh, I see. USA President Barack Obama. But now it is former. USA former President Barack Obama. I hope you love him. It is a black African. His second epigram is that If you think education is expensive, wait until you see how much ignorance costs. Can you see? If you think education is expensive, wait until you see how much ignorance costs. This was in the 21st century. Okay? Yeah, this is the famous USA former President Barack Obama epigrams about education. Good. All right, let us move. Hey, do you know him? This is his picture now. This is his picture. Okay? Now you can observe the picture. This is Barack Obama. Yeah, the famous man. Very good. Let's move. Now we are now at our literary techniques used in epigram. As I have mentioned earlier, we have seen that in epigram we use satire, we use oxymoron, okay, and we use also sarcasm. But let us see together these literary terms together to see their meaning. Okay? What is a satire then, dear student? What is a satire? Yeah, it is like humor to mock failure. When they mock failure, it means something you have failed for responsibility, but someone comes and just mock about your failure. Okay? But the purpose of this satire is to correct yourself. To correct yourself. It makes, okay, the person responsibility correct the situation. This is one way of mocking the person for whom the epigram is intended. When we are mocking some person, maybe the purpose of this epigram, of this satire, is to make the person to correct himself or herself. Good. Sarcasm. Sarcasm is when you say the opposite of what we mean in order to mock and the possibility to hurt someone's feeling. You can see it is like satire. But in sarcasm, the purpose of sarcasm is not to make the person correct himself or herself, but really to hurt him. To hurt him. To make him feeling bad. This is sarcasm. Good. Let's go now to the last one, but not least, an oxymoron. An oxymoron. Oxymoron is a statement that is contradictory. Yes. When you put together, when the phrase or the statement, okay, puts together words that are opposite in nature, that time it will be called the oxymoron. You can see here the student, very good example here. Have you ever seen someone who is ugly beauty? How can ugly can match with beauty? Impossible. There is no person who can be ugly and at the same time beautiful. It is impossible. In this case, it is an oxymoron. Okay? We have another example. The living dead. There is no someone who can live and also died. Okay? There is no living dead. It is impossible. This is an oxymoron because what the living and dead, they are opposite in nature. Okay? They contract themselves. Okay? Since you can be alive and dead at the same time, no? You cannot be like that. Okay? So this is figures of speech or literary techniques that are used in epigrams. Dear student, you can see that most of the epigrams, there is a lot of contradiction. Okay? There is a lot of oxymoron. Okay? So now, here is like practice. Here is like practice. Read epigram 1. We have seen epigram 1 up there. And discuss in your small group what it is saying about the king. Okay? What the epigram is saying about the king. So, thank you very much. We'll be back seeing what the first epigram is saying about the king. I hope you have enjoyed the lesson. I hope you have just understood what is epigram, and the famous people or famous persons who have just the epigrams and the examples you have seen, and that the characteristics of epigrams. Thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed the lesson. I hope we'll be together again. This is the URUREMBO class. Don't forget to subscribe, okay? And follow us every day. I'm Teacher Fidel. Thank you very much. See you next time.